very rewarding for sure.
Very.
What about a disaster story? You guys have any of those where like you just everything went wrong?
The base was 17. So wind is not our friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do everything like 12 and under, 12 miles per hour and under, which doesn't sound too high, but you know, when you get up to where it's like 15 to 17, we had it was a 45-foot screen and we were on base. We had it strapped down to trucks and we had it strapped down to generators. I had to go and help. So our guys were trying to do it. And this thing was just flopping around, flying around. You imagine watching a movie and all you see is the picture going like this
Comes
on the
like
front
a
of it.
giant sail.
Giant sail. And so it was going up and down, up and down. I remember calling Elaine and saying, "Man, this is bad. This is horrible." And the guys were sitting on the base of the screen to make sure it doesn't go. And I remember it coming up again, and I dropped the phone.
Videos.
Yeah, I have a video of it somewhere. I had to find it, but I dropped the phone. I start running, and then jumping, and then I go and jump on the leg of the screen to try to be a third body holding it down while it's strapped to trucks and a generator. So I mean, wind's not our friend.
I think that was earlier on when we first started.
Yeah.
So since then, we've definitely upgraded the material or the
material,
type
the
of
screen,
and we're like, we're never doing that again.
And then we always have a rate. What do you call it? A rain check.
Yes.
So whenever we look at
reschedule.
winds now ahead of time, and if there's going to be high winds, we let the customer know and say, hey, you know, we want a successful event, but we're not sure that we can do that if this wind is going to be high. So either do you have a place indoors? So sometimes we'll move it to an indoor gym, or do you want to reschedule? And then sometimes they're like, well, no, let's go ahead and try it. We got to do it. And then so, you know, we let them know ahead of time this might not be successful.
Right.
So
I think that's key. Yeah.
Yes, it is key. I think the more information they have up front, it just lessens.
And a backup plan would be good too,
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's just like what NASA says, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. It's like, what's your backup plan? You should have a backup to the backup if you can afford it. But you have another story too about a 5th grade pool party that I think is a pretty good story.
So, so 5th grade, the end of the school year is coming, and this is a pool party that they do annually. So, every 5th grader looks forward to that. So, it just overnight weather changed, and it was supposed to be like 30% chance of rain, completely changed to like 90%. So, of course, for safety reasons, the school districts let us know we cannot, continue with the pool party. So got a phone call.
And this was tradition, right? I mean, they do this every year.
Every year, yeah. And then they were running out of time, so they weren't able to reschedule that pool party. So, of course, those kids were bummed, and I just felt really bad. I had a 5th grader at the time, so I'm like, man, we got to fix something, So when we get the call, I was like, you know what, let me see what we can do. So this was 7 a.m., and I usually do not answer the phone at that time. So, they answer the phone, they explain the story. I was like, okay, let me get with our main guy and, ask him, like, hey, do you think we can make this happen? Let's get a gym full of activities for them. And by 9 o'clock, we were able to get multiple activities in there. So they had like a lot of interactive activities. It's soccer ball, hover ball. I mean, what else? Laser tag. I mean, they had a bunch of things in their gym. And so it was really nice to get a thank you card from, I didn't expect that, from the whole class. They signed it and they were like, just thank you so much for making our 5th grade party a success, even though we were looking forward to the pool party, but it was so fun that you all came together. And so we did get a review from the coach, and she was just very, very appreciative of that. So that's another story, that warms my heart as well. It's just,
And had you guys been booked to work the pool party, or was that out of the blue?
No, out of the blue. Yeah.
No, out of the blue.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about challenges in your entrepreneurial world, Isaac? What's like a challenge you guys struggle with that you guys are trying to work through, or maybe that you overcome that was pretty? Because I understand what that life is like, right? And we get overwhelmed sometimes with everything, especially with multiple businesses.
Yeah.
We can overwhelm our spouse. We can overwhelm our kid. Even my cat, I think, gets overwhelmed at some point.
Yes, our dogs are
Our dogs,
The dogs are even more sensitive to stress,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what kind of challenges have you faced recently that are like, you know what? But they kind of push you to that next level. It's always good, right?
Yeah. I would say, the way that, and just technically speaking, it was like I used Echo and leveraged Echo. Echo is my web design company. I used Echo to help purchase Freedom. And then now that Freedom, so the biggest struggle or challenges are like, hey, when a first business gets off the ground, what are you, about a year or two in, maybe even more before you even like turn some. Yeah. So even more so during COVID, because Freedom started during COVID. So here I am floating several things and home, and I don't advise it. It was bad. During COVID time, it was one of those things where we were going to throw in the towel and just say this is it, and we finally had an event kick up, and then now that Freedom's doing well, we're kind of in that same position of floating the laundromat that's in Corpus. So that's part of the challenge. It's kind of like, oh, okay, I got lease, I got power, I got water, I got personnel, I got machines down. Okay, we need so it's one of those things where it's a bit of a stretch. And all, just being transparent, until it does what Freedom does and picks up and starts paying its own bills.
What's the goal here? Are you guys looking for multiple streams of income? Are you just bored? I mean, why do you keep launching businesses?
It would never bored. Never bored. I got a call. Sorry. Side story. I got a call from a lady, a 70-year-old lady in Kingsville, asking me who manages our laundromat in Corpus. And I go, oh, well, that's my dad. And she goes, oh, I'm looking for somebody to fix my machines in Kingsville. She goes, I'm actually selling it, and I'm selling the building with it. I go like this to Elaine, and she's like, you better hang up that phone right now. It was what I
gotta go.
Yeah. Because I do. It does get addicting. But the biggest thing is streams of income. I love Freedom Fund, great business. Pandemic proof. I mean, fun is the first thing to go.
Right.
So I'm doing Echo. Echo's always been somewhat stable. It's always kind of done a line. Yeah, it goes down, but then it kind of comes up and it stays pretty level. During COVID, people needed digital stuff, so I did fairly well. And so I was just looking for a second stream of income. Freedom was it. But then we found out, during the pandemic, everybody's no fun. If there's a recession, no, we're going to cut out fun first. We got to pay our essentials. So, it is seasonal. Right now, we're probably finding out, too, that the heat has something to do with it, because this is the first time it's been this hot this early, and it's affecting us.
Need more water in your events, right?
Yeah. So we do have some of those now.
Great, yeah.
And because of that, in this, I was like, well, maybe I need to find another thing that, my way of looking at it is that businesses do this, and then if I have another one doing this, that hopefully I'll catching up when another's down. So that's kind of like a simple way that I think about it.
Well, and people always need laundromats.
People always need laundromats. So laundromats.
It's all about location, though.
Yep.
Yes.
So I don't think I don't see on the horizon that I'm buying anymore. I'm going to stick with what I got and try to make these all as successful as they can be. But the idea is like the laundromat, I'm getting somebody to run it. And the Freedom Fund, we both run it, but she primarily runs it. Echo, I run it. And the digital displays, I'm doing it with my son, who does photography and videography, as kind of like a second business for him, though it's taking up a lot of my time right now. So essentially, it's going to be kind of like that. Hey, and I'm going to kind of pull back from it and let him kind of run things once I help him get it off the ground. So
you're pretty diversified, it seems like. I mean, laundromats, Freedom Fund, web development. With me, when I'm building out my company, my core is staffing.
Yeah,
I look at everything through a staffing lens, which social media can be staffing, right?
Yeah.
No matter podcast, this is all about staffing. So I have a core there. Do you guys have a core that you're trying to hone in on that really can help push everything else?
I would say there's core services for everything. I mean, because with all businesses, Elaine handles the social media for it. She's great at it. So for every business, I mean, we've gotten audiences just because of the way she posts and the way what she does. I obviously handle all the technical stuff for everything.
Our son also does the photography.
Oh yeah, he does the photography,
so
videography.
Anytime we need a video, I mean, he did a fabulous one for our laundromat. For the grand opening.
Yeah.
Pictures. So we have that I remember being in the laundromat, and of course, you get bombarded with a lot of marketing agencies like, hey, we had a walk-in when we were there, and she's like, oh, well, who does your videography? I'm like, oh, our son. Well, who does your social media? Oh, well, I do. Well, who does all the, the website? Or my husband does. So she's like, oh, well, you all kind of have it all figured out. So I think in that regards, that's
Yeah, I would say the majority of it's media related.
Yes.
As opposed, I mean, even the laundromat isn't. We're running it like it is. The whole customer service that Elaine does with Freedom, that's kind of spilling over into the laundromat. So our laundromat, we have tables set out. We have game boards set up for Saturdays. We have free refreshments and coffee.
That's something I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah.
Is bringing the fun into a laundromat. That should be. I get 25 cents.
We had a lady come in, and we get these stories a lot. We have been getting them a lot lately. Sorry, the lady came in and she says, she goes, I really like this laundromat, and to me, it's like, it's like, oh, what can I do better? Like, what can I? I'm always thinking that way, and she's like, it's our community. I was like,
yeah.
I love that. It's like,
Tuesday is Senior Wash Day. So I'll be there for that. It's a new thing. Some Medicare representative is going to set up a table, buy soap for elderly, and they're going to come in and wash. So it's kind of like it's almost community driven space. We're trying to make it a little bit different than just your normal boring.
Right.
laundromat.
Why couldn't you franchise that out? I mean, just start buying up
awesome.
laundromats and convert them to a fun
Whoa.
laundromat.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. I feel like once you get into the business space, you got to be real wary of that shiny object syndrome, because the opportunity, once you hustle and you get a business off the ground, you've now proved that you can do it. You know the potential in it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you start seeing the world through a different lens than
Absolutely.
you did when you even started the business. It's such a vast difference between year 0 of a business and year 2, and all of a sudden it's like the world opens up.
It just does something to you mentally, like, oh wow, I was able to accomplish that. Okay, and I, I'll be real honest. When I took over Freedom, and Isaac kind of gave me a little more to do, and he kind of had to step aside, and he wasn't always available for these meetings, with the Austin location. So I'm like, oh, well, here I go.
This is her first time meeting.
Okay,
the powers that be.
So it was very, difficult for me. And my health took a toll, just full transparency. It really did. I was so stressed, because when I learn something and I do it for a while, I get really good at it. I'm comfortable with it. This was so new, and there was so much coming at me at the same time, and balancing the kids and home life, my husband, and it was a lot. So, just coming off of that, making sure that, I had to take a step back and like really, okay, let me take care of myself, because I'm pretty important to my family,
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So once I started doing that and realizing, okay, and then able to slowly, reintroduce tasks for Freedom Fund, it became a little normal for me,
So I think that's so valuable to hear, because everybody, I feel from the outside, they look at these business owners and they're like, wow,
Oh my goodness.
I feel like the general thought process of not entrepreneurs is they just have something. It just worked for them. It just all happened to them. They're just walking the light, and very, very, very rarely does that. They say an overnight success is 10 years in the making.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you could talk to somebody that's in that same position, they're, so uncomfortable, they're taking on a lot of new stuff, they're feeling overwhelmed, what would you give advice to Pastor Elaine about?
I actually did have to talk to another potential franchise that was thinking of getting into the business. And, I just made sure to let her know, like, hey, you same family unit, stay-at-home mom. And, she was working at the time. And, just shared with her, like, there's going to be times where you're going to have to take a break. You cannot do it. I remember at the beginning with Freedom, I would wake up and I would be sitting at my computer, and it would be nighttime, and I'm like, I haven't even tended to my kids or anything, So I felt, oh my gosh, I cannot do this. I can't continue to do it this way. So as long as I know a lot of people will say, you have to balance everything, but in reality, it's never going to all be balanced. It never is.
Yeah.
Something is going to give, and you have to expect that something's going to give. You just have to know how to pick those pieces up and give that part attention, like later on, like figure that part out. It's not easy, but if you continue to work hard and making sure that you're paying attention to the things that matter the most to you, your family,
Yeah.
I think it comes together,
I think last night was a testament of that, because my son, he's leaving to Mathis, so he's already there. He's doing photography and video for a camp, so he got hired by them. So he drove down there. I'm headed to Corpus, so Elaine's going to be home with the other 3 kiddos by themselves. We got a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old, 20-year-old.
20-year-old, yeah.
17, 12, and 8. So last night I was the one I was just exhausted, tired, and my daughter, 12-year-old daughter, comes up and says, "Oh, we said we were going to play board games," and finally everybody's home because my boys were gone all weekend for a 48-hour film festival thing competition, and I didn't want to play games last night. I was like, no, there's no way. So I forced myself because it was about them. And yeah, I started off with the grumpy. I was the grumpy guy. But afterwards, everybody was laughing. It was just good to just have that moment and know that you have to like force yourself to the family moments, even though you're doing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a bit overwhelming at times, but yeah, those boundaries are super important.
Yes.
When I set my path on what I was going to be doing, I kept that in mind as far as working my way out of positions within the company. Isaac kind of was able to do that. He's worked himself out of Freedom Fund, right?
Yeah.
But for those that are in it, can you see that path of working your way out of it? And it's something that you talk about, plan to work yourself out of it so that you can keep your sanity.
Right. Yeah. And learning to delegate and just learning to stay back. I think it was really difficult when, I know that I needed the help when we got our admin. And then there's times where I want to meddle in there and I'm like, no, she's got it, So I think learning to let go and learning to trust is, that's a big one.
It's a big part of the reason I have a job. So
we're at time. So guys, if they want to get in touch with you, Elaine, how do they do that?
Yeah. So our telephone number is 210-890-4386. You can also visit our website, freedomfundusa.com. We also have our Google page, which is Freedom Fund San Antonio. So as long as you have a San Antonio address, you'll be able to see all our happy reviews.
All right, as we wrap up the show, quick reminder to check out our latest podcast or catch video version of the show anytime by visiting our website at satalkradio.com. That's going to be it for us for this show. Guys, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Great job, everybody.
You.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
We
All right.
appreciate that.
We'll see you on the next one.
All right. You have a good one.